Hey everybody, this is Jacqueline from the Legally Vegas podcast, here with a super special shorty episode for you with some major updates on some of the cases that we've been following. Now, for those of you that follow along with our content, you know that at this point we're delayed in producing the next episode of Legally Vegas, and for that, we apologize. As you know, this podcast is sponsored by our firm, Bighorn Law, and we are in the middle of back-to-back jury trials. And of course, that takes precedent over everything. So I thought what I would do today is I would drop in and I would give you some updates on some of the really interesting cases that we've been following. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know I have my laptop in front of me, and you know that means we mean business here at the Legally Vegas podcast. I thought right off the bat, I would start with, what is David Copperfield up to? If you remember from a prior episode that we did with my friend Samantha Martin, we talked about how David Copperfield, his show was just magically ending at one of the casinos here in Las Vegas after he just happened to be referenced in the Epstein files. I checked his website today, and of course there's still a spot where you can go and buy tickets, but when you click on it, there are no upcoming shows. I thought for sure by now that Mr. Copperfield would pop up at another casino, but that does not appear to be the case. And for now, there are no upcoming shows for Mr. Copperfield. So maybe Sam and I are finally going to get our wish that Mr. Copperfield can use his powers and just simply disappear from Las Vegas. So we'll keep tracking that and give you updates as we hear more. So next up, if you guys remember, we were following along with that exhibitionist UNR student who was caught posting content from the UNR campus on his OnlyFans. Now, we had lots of commentary back then about how, tuition's really expensive. And so he was just doing what he had to do. And so unfortunately, that case is really progressing through the district court up in Reno, Nevada. So the gentleman who was charged with that crime, his name is Anthony Basse, and his case is currently in district court up in Reno. He's represented by Larry Dunn and Karina Dunn, and that case is currently set for July 13th of 2026, and that was continued. And the arraignment is currently scheduled to take place on September 2nd of 2026, but the case also got set for a settlement conference on August 25th of 2026. And I would say for Mr. Basse's I'm really hopeful that they're able to negotiate that. I do sympathize with a student who's simply trying to make ends meet and get themselves through school. So moving right along, the last case that I wanted to update you guys on, which has always been my favorite to follow from the very beginning, is the Brunner versus Sterling case. If you guys remember, we talked about this case at length in both the first and the fourth episode of the Legally Vegas podcast. So if you're just joining us, please go back and listen to those episodes. This is the case that the I'm in love with a stripper case, cue the music. This case has been so fascinating to follow, and there's just a couple of updates for you that we have. So back in April of this year, in that case, there was the mandatory Rule 16 conference, and that was held in court. And one of the things that's really interesting is that during that conference, the attorney on behalf of the plaintiff, Mr. Brunner, said that he had 43 witnesses that he wished to have deposed. 26 of those witnesses are outside of the state of Nevada. Now, under the Nevada rules of civil procedure, the courts really limit the number of depositions that can take place in any given case to 10 per party. So with over 40 witnesses, I'm really, really curious how Mr. Brunner and which ones he's going to choose to depose in that case. Of course, he can always ask for leave of court if he wants to take more depositions, but I'm very curious to follow along, and that is just so many witnesses. I know if my friend Sam was here, she would have a lot of commentary on that. The last thing I wanted to share with you, we did some digging, and if you remember in episode 4, we talked about how in some of the pleadings there was this photo of Miss Sterling and Mr. Brunner with the University of Alabama golf team on a private jet to Cabo, and I was so curious and trying to figure out how on earth Mr. Brunner, who's in Arkansas, is somehow related to the University of Alabama's golf team and how they got connected. So we did learn that Mr. Brunner actually went to the University of Alabama. I'm not sure if he graduated from there, but also there's a lot of other family members that are University of Alabama alumni or current students. And so that is the connection. I'm very curious, just like I said in episode 4, are some of those witnesses that are going to be deposed from the University of Alabama golf team? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. If you've enjoyed this, please like and follow along and subscribe to the Legally Vegas podcast. We'll be back soon with our next episode featuring my friend Nate Hendricks. Thanks again for joining us on another little mini shorty episode of the Legally Vegas podcast. As always, this episode is sponsored by my law firm, Bighorn Law. We are home to the 2026 Nevada Trial Lawyer of the Year. We handle cases across the country in anything to do with an injury or insurance bad faith. If you ever want a free consultation, please call us at 702-333-1111.